make that mistake. All right. Today we are discussing easements on Corcoran Pond. So perhaps to help the discussion, I would like to read two paragraphs from Tara regarding the relevance of our discussion and the Corcoran Pond easements. All right, number 3. A wetlands permit from DES will be required for the work proposed in and on the banking of Corcoran Pond. The town will have an opportunity to have a formal role in that process through its Conservation Commission. And number 4. A notice design review application does not necessarily vest the project from changes to the zoning ordinance and regulations forever. RSA 676-4 enable the planning board to determine that the design review process of an application has ended and inform the applicant within 10 days of the meeting. I recommend either providing some advance notice to an applicant, for example, if we don't receive a final application within X number of months, your design review will be considered to be ended, or giving applicants a heads up at the start of a design review of what that period of time would be. Otherwise, an applicant could not be heard from for a few months, but be working on revisions to the plan with the intent of coming back in soon and learn that a different set of regulations now applies. In the draft site plan review regulation amendments, I have suggested 6 months be included right in the regulations for transparency and consistency. So those are the recommendations, suggestions from Tara, the town planner. Do we have any?
I have a question.
Yes.
Since I'm just now reading this document,
Mhm.
which is from Tara, I gather.
Yeah.
Number 1, remind me what a PUD is, a PUD.
Planned unit development.
Okay, thank you.
I just read Tara's information. I read numbers 3 and 4, where it's relevant for the Conservation Commission.
Yeah. Where is 105, lot 105-8?
Oh, you're looking at the maps too?
Well, I'm trying to figure out her item 1 here.
Yeah, if you can't find it, there's one
Right
behind,
behind, probably
Oh,
easier
behind?
to look on that one, Charles.
There's a big one behind you.
and you should have it there. Can you find it?
Not 105. There's a lot
Do you see it, Penny?
Tax map 108.
12, 8, right here. Oh, it's essentially that.
It's around the
parking lot.
pond, yeah, parking lot area.
No, it's
Skate-
the
skate park
entire
area.
thing.
The entire.
It's everything except for Green Peak. It's that whole lot.
Whole lot except for Green Peak.
So essentially what I'm hearing from Tara's interpretation is the town could vote on these potential amendments. And they could pass. And it wouldn't necessarily. It could affect what the development of Town Square. Like they're not vested, they don't have an approved plan, they
Approved
just have a
plan,
design.
right.
Mhm.
So they have so therefore her recommendation for, a 6-month sort of grace period
I've been studying this for days and going through varying stages of confusion and then clarification and then confusion again. So, as I understand it, the Conservation Commission were tasked with providing feedback to the planning board on 3 different zoning amendments, one for steep slopes, one for shoreland, one for floodplain. And from what I've read, our interests, our concerns about Corcoran Pond had to do with the proposed amendment regarding shoreland. And there are lots of interesting things there, and that capacity really provided with this 2007 rather lengthy and detailed and informative agreement between the town and the company, which stipulate all kinds of provisions and understandings between town and company regarding the area of Corcoran's Pond and vicinity. Okay, so what I have taken from this is that this is a very detailed and informative document that provides some obligations to both town and company regarding access restrictions and so forth for the Corcoran Pond vicinity. And it's an agreed upon document. Whatever is right and wrong about it is a matter of history. It's a document that's a matter of record, and that I would think that the town has every interest in retaining for all kinds of legal and other reasons too. Now, the draft that the commission got from the planning board regarding the shoreland protection stipulates that the area of Corcoran's Pond is excluded.
It is.
It's
They
just,
voted, they changed
it's out,
the original
Right.
amendment.
Right.
And
so
they're only, they excluded Corcoran Pond.
for what I
from
can
the
see,
amendment.
good reasons, and the good,
Mm.
and as I understand, I mean, whether I like or don't like this is not really a matter of record or importance. But what I can understand why that would be excluded is that if it's not by excluding it, it gives some better chance for the shoreland protection of Snowsbrook and Mad River to get approved by the town, which is in our interest as a conservation commission. If we bundle that together
Mhm.
with a huge legal quagmire concerning the 2007 document applying to,
And there's also the special zoning district that is laid out in the zoning ordinance that allows development in conjunction with the 2007
right,
agreement. So the town meeting voted to implement a special zoning district around Corcoran Pond
Mhm.
that allows construction right up to the edge of the pond.
right.
And that
And
further.
30 feet out into the pond.
And 30
Why
feet out
in
into the
God's
pond.
name?
Well, there were a whole lot of reasons back in 2007 to do that. But neither here nor there, it also added to the legal issues that would be raised if Corcoran Pond were left in the amendment with the rest of the shoreline
Right,
improvement. So that was the thought process of the board when they voted to exclude Corcoran Pond.
right,
Let's take 2025 and let's go through the 2007 agreement and the special zoning district, right? And let's come up with a way to address Corcoran Pond if we want to. But we had not involved town council up until that point. So all we had were Tara's opinions. We did not have legal opinion
Mhm.
about what would happen. And if we had implemented, if Amendment 1 had passed with Corcoran Pond in it, we would have had conflicting sections in our zoning ordinance because Amendment 1 did not repeal the special zoning district. So you could have potentially had these shoreline protection issues, and then on top of that, the special zoning district. And it would have been very difficult to unravel that in a month. You know, with only a couple of meetings to discuss it. So I'm kind of with Charles.
Hmm.
Get what you can get now on Snows Brook and the Mad River and the West Branch. You're only impacting really, I think, what is it, 6 lots on the West Branch that are really gonna be subject to the new provisions. Because everything around Snows Brook is green belt and can't be developed anyway. The only developable lots are the residential lots on the West Branch. Everything along the Mad River up to Tyler Spring condos is all greenbelt
Greenbelt,
and belongs to the town.
right,
It's not going to be built on,
right.
so it's already protected. The town owns the lot behind Mad River condos. Right, that's between Mad River condos
Right.
and the river,
Mhm.
that is a town parcel.
Mhm,
That's not gonna be developed.
mhm.
We closed last night with David Britton.
Yay.
and
Oh,
We have the lot under agreement, so
Congratulations.
we're all the way up to West Branch Road now.
Oh, no.
Beautiful.
And there isn't any buildable land between the National Forest boundary and West Branch Bridge along the Mad River. The only buildable lots are on the West Branch.
So
So,
make that
I-
guy
you
replant
know,
the trees. he
I really
cut down.
think this
Yeah.
is a good first step, and it's raised
Hold that thought.
the issues of the agreement, the 2007 agreement, and the special zoning district. And let's work on those in 2025.
Thank you for that. I have one more
Mhm.
thing, maybe you can clarify. In just the last half hour, as I was trying to see if I had my ducks in a row on this 2007 document.
Yeah.
I remain intensely confused and hope that you can clarify to me between something at the beginning of the document and something in the deed at the end of the document.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the document, it specifies that the town owns proposed lot 2 and WCI owns proposed lots 1, 3, and 4.
Yeah.
And yet the deed is a transmission from WCI of lot 2, the pond, to the town. This seems backwards to me. What direction is it going? Do you understand my confusion? At the outset of this document, the town owns proposed lot 2, which is Corcoran Pond, and the company owns 1, 3, and
They were
4.
done at the same time. The deed transferred lot 2 to the town. So
But from
This
whom?
agreement was.
From whom?
from the Waterville company.
But the company didn't own it.
Yes, they did. Initially,
This agreement was done after the transfer.
right, and so when you look at the lots. So when we did this. The town already owned this,
Which is 4.
I'm sorry,
This is 4 in here.
this is,
And this
this is
3 in
4.
here, and this is 2.
yes,
and
that's
then-
correct. So the deed was done to transfer lot 2 to the town. In conjunction with that, right, but after
Okay,
we entered the 2007 agreement,
okay, so.
okay?
All right,
So before that, Waterville Company owned
All of lot 1,
all of lot 1.
and then the town sought to legal subdivide that.
Well,
The town
it was
reserved the right
not
to
the
subdivide.
town, it was not the town going to them and saying, please give us the pond. It was Waterville Company saying,
Please take it.
we are not going to fix the dam.
Right,
If you want to keep the pond, you have to take it.
right, and the
Okay.
town said only we have the right to subdivide and you don't. So we will
Correct.
subdivide it and then you'll sell us the pond
Correct.
or transfer, I don't know if there was. money.
That's correct. There was no money.
Okay,
And they originally kept this lot, which is the lot with
Four.
the path down from
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Golden Eagle on it.
Mhm.
And the
And
bench.
then we bought it for $88,000 a couple of years later,
The town.
the town. So we now own this as well.
Uh-huh, okay,
Okay, but that was a separate transaction. I think it was 2
Oh.
or 3 years later.
okay, thank you.
I think we paid $1 for the pond, didn't we?
No, we didn't pay anything.
The
No,
dollar
we
was
paid
re-
$700,000.
Yeah, exactly. I was like.
Yeah, soon to be, soon to
The
be.
year after
million.
we
Yeah.
did this agreement in
Yeah.
2008, DES issued
Yeah,
Dredging.
an order that
Mhm.
said you will
You will
repair the
Repair the
dam.
dam.
We managed to put that off for 8 years, but we
Oh.
eventually had to do it.
So given that the planning board amended the proposal to
Proposal.
remove Corcoran Pond,
Yep.
kind of makes, you know, what we're talking about here, not that, we don't really,
That was my thought.
kind of like
I just spent
eliminates any.
10
It's
hours
like, why have
studying
we been
this, and now
doing
we
that?
have no-
But I guess if it is something that we want to think about addressing in 2025, I don't know what, if people have various thoughts and opinions on it.
Mm.
My thoughts are that, given that we now recognize that the proposal going forward does not include the pond, then yes, I would say as a what are we, Conservation
Commission.
Commission, that we be agreeable to the provisions for steep slopes, shoreland and floodplain. Let's go for it, see if we can get the town to approve it at the annual meeting. And we, at any time we wish, can come back and readdress if we want to say something more about the pond. I have no idea where to go with that. But I will look into it when the time comes, maybe.
Well, there's going to be a meeting between Tyrell, the ski area and the town through the select board, probably next week to start talking about the 2007 agreement and
Yeah.
the pond in general,
Oh.
because
okay.
we need some further agreement, because of the dredging project.
Yeah.
Okay.
That conversation has not happened. But the potential is there for an agreement that supersedes the 2007 agreement. It
Mhm.
will have to be a formal agreement because the 2007 agreement was registered. Was filed at the county registry, so
Mhm.
it's gonna have to be another written agreement and go through the same process. But that's through the select board, that's not a town meeting.
Did the select board initiate this meeting to discuss the pond, the
Yes.
dredging,
Mhm.
right?
Um,
Yeah.
I have a odd question, so. The easement, all that information was between. What was then Sununu? It wasn't Tyrell at the time, right?
Waterville Company?
Waterville,
WCI.
yeah,
Water
Waterville Company and,
Incorporated.
In the town.
The
Select board.
town of Waterville Valley by the Board of Select.
so my question is, Waterville Company no longer exists.
But all of their rights, everything
Tyrell.
that they had
Mhm.
were transferred to Tyrell.
Mhm.
And
Okay,
it
that's
is
what
in
I,
the deed
Mhm.
where
Okay.
they transferred all of that property over.
okay,
There is a stipulation that that agreement and the easements around the pond
Mm.
and the water withdrawal rights from the pond
That's
and
it.
everything else were transferred from the
Mhm.
Waterville Company to Tyrell.
mhm.
Right.
And you might be able to explain it a little bit better, but I'm not sure. Our board knows much about what they call the overlay, what we're calling the overlay around the pond.
The overlay.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a special zoning.
Yeah.
district.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you guys are okay,
I don't know
Okay.
about it.
should they know, you think we?
Well, there's an overlay district that runs along the northeastern side of the pond, between the pond and the arena,
Mhm.
and it's stipulated in our zoning ordinance, described, and there are certain things that are allowed to be done within that special zoning district. And I believe it goes 50 feet or 100 feet from the edge of the pond, north and east,
Mhm.
right? So it's basically the area up to the edge of the arena, all along that side,
Mhm.
So all the way to the
So-
road.
all the way to the road.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it runs from 75. So this is where the boat dock is.
Mhm.
And I believe it starts like 50 or 75 feet to the north off the end of that. And it runs all the way to Valley Road. And within this area, there are certain things that are laid out in the zoning ordinance that can be done.
Mm.
Can be subdivided into, I think, 6 lots, and buildings can be within, right up to the edge of the pond, and can have a structure
Out to
feet out
into the
into the
water.
pond.
That just.
That's all laid out in
Yeah.
the zoning ordinance,
Yeah.
but that's just like the low density residential zone, right? Or any other zoning district that we have, it has the same effect, so. But that was gonna be a big problem if you put a,
Yeah, it would have been a total
it would have
conflict,
been a
yeah.
total
We
conflict.
would have had to
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
renege that, yeah.
Right,
And had we started talking about it,
A long
when
time
did
ago.
they start? September, when they started
Yeah.
talking about this stuff? If we had said at that time, oh, and we're gonna have to remove the special zoning district, then we could have started that conversation, but it wasn't until last month when I said, special zoning district, what are we gonna do with it? And
Yeah.
everyone went, oops,
Yeah,
yeah, right.
right? So that's what we gotta do in 25.
okay.
Does any of this affect the Snowsbrook project?
No.
No,
No, and that's part of the conversation we're gonna have with Tyrell in the ski area, is we need to come to some sort of agreement on the dredging of the pond,
Right,
and what, before we
right.
get too far along, because the sedimentation project is actually very beneficial to us with DES, and is probably gonna help us
Mhm.
get the dredging project permitted,
Right.
because they know we also have this other
Mhm.
remediation project going on.
Is someone
They were
proposing?
very happy when we
Yeah.
briefed them the first time.
Oh, good.
Oh,
Is
good.
anyone proposing sharing of the cost?
I will,
Done?
I'll come to the meeting and
Yeah,
propose that.
hello? Hello, you want my water?
That's what we'll work on.
That is part of the conversation.
The big part.
Funding is a big part.
That's on a Wednesday of next week?
I don't know which day it's,
Oh, okay, okay.
it's not we're having a non-public session.
Mm.
Oh,
Of
okay,
course.
This is negotiation
Yeah.
Oh,
of the agreement.
Not yet.
okay,
Let's,
Before the public
we'll
hearing.
take, we
Yeah.
will have we'll have
Yeah.
public hearings about it.
Right.
okay.
But we first have to have at least a framework of
Yes.
what
Sure.
we're
Yep.
Present.
talking about, and we have not had
Any-
word
Any-
one discussion.
Right.
yet,
yeah.
So.
Yeah.
It's in the very early stages.
there were a few little sort of mainly small editorial mistakes in this. One that's a little bit more significant under item 8, view easement.
Yeah,
And then the idea is that you need to keep vegetation cut down so that when you're driving by on the bridge, you have a nice view of the pond.
correct.
And that's all swell, but it says view easement to be located on a portion of both lot 3, period. And when I read that, I thought that must be a mistake. And I think initially it may have been that they wanted the easement to include lot 3, which is basically the southeast company-owned portion.
Yeah,
And a piece of lot 2, which is town-owned,
Yeah.
which is closer to where the river comes out.
it was a typo. It should be lots 2
And
and
3,
Oh,
okay. And that has maybe some small impact on the Snows Brook project, which was to, in some way, be
No,
collecting
it
sediment
is
there.
over, it is past the bridge. The view easement is actually
The other
on
side of
the
the
map.
Mhm.
If
Yeah,
there
I
was
saw
a
it.
map attached to that.
Yeah, I
package.
saw it.
And the view
This one?
easement is actually drawn in there, what was intended to be the view. And it's just south and east of the bridge. South and west.
But if it is, then it's only on lot 3.
No, it does cut off a piece of lot 2 as well. But anyway, the intent was to keep that whole area
Sure.
where you view
Yeah.
town square with Mount Tecumseh
Right.
behind
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And keep that view
And that's a good
clear.
thing.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
Very
Believe me,
complicated. yeah.
Cal Kirsch and I spent hours with Bill Cantlin on that 2007 agreement.
Yeah.
We discussed it probably 10 times with the board.
Just
We had
out
a couple of public hearings about
Yeah.
it.
I was curious that only 2 out of 3 selectmen signed it.
Who
Cantlin, I
didn't
think,
sign
was-
it?
Was Cantlin a selectman?
No,
Oh, he wasn't.
he didn't. live
It was
here.
Joan and,
Sweeney and Kirsch,
Yeah.
Yeah, Joan and Tao.
somebody's missing, it's blank.
Yeah, there were, I think we were in a transition. I think one of the selectmen had resigned
Mm.
at the time. I can't remember the exact circumstance, but.
So what do we do?
Are there any, I don't know, are there any further questions? Paul, do you have any comments?
No, I'm just listening. I think I've got a good understanding of everything. So I appreciate Charles taking the time
Yeah,
to go through everything so thoroughly. And that made it easy, actually. So I'm glad he sent those updated maps and things. So that was good. But no, I'm pretty good. I'm comfortable.
I'm glad we're all kind of paying attention to this, because
yeah,
it was, some news that we kind of
Mhm.
overlooked a little bit.
yeah. Oh, it's a big hodgepodge of things.
Yeah. And I'm with Charles too. Some of it you're reading and it's like, what?
Yeah,
I know.
right,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
So,
yeah. So at what point
Okay.
does the Conservation Commission need to get involved?
What point?
Well-
There'll be another planning board decision to move forward an amendment. And you'll either participate in
Mhm.
wording that or review it when wording is developed.
Okay,
Well, a question for John, would it be helpful for the commission to inform the planning board that we as a commission have voted to, have we already done, to approve all 3 of the zoning amendments?
That'll be helpful if you have that vote on the record so that John can say that tomorrow, because they're gonna be voting whether.
Do we
or
have
not to
enough
move
to vote?
Number.
we probably
So we don't have copies of
Of the
the amendments.
amendments.
Yeah.
If you had them, that
Oh.
we could review.
Oh, wow,
I have. 'em,
wait,
but-
he hasn't.
I mean, I know
I get it.
2 of them
All
are
right.
unchanged, but you did change.
Hmm.
From our, but
Mhm,
prior to, between when we gave
Yeah.
our last endorsement of the 3,
mhm.
at least amendment 1 has changed to exclude Corcoran Pond, so.
Yeah, and last night's meeting was just a special meeting like you're having today.
Mhm.
And one of those, we're gonna vote down and completely erase it.
Oh, right,
Right.
because.
But that doesn't affect us, the
No,
3 that
that
we,
was number
the 3
6.
environmental.
Six,
Was it
number 6. yeah.
Involved Craig.
That
who
was
retracted
subdividing
his-
the,
The
Oh,
rec and LDR.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's out.
Yeah, he chose not to go ahead with that and instead is doing private
it's being
selling.
purchased by
Yeah.
someone else.
Yeah, so,
And
But not built on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. who
so
wants to
whoever buys it
actually
wants to
move.
leave it as rec. But they, at that point in time, can change that or they have to come to the,
Yeah,
and go through the process,
Yeah.
yeah.
mhm,
it won't be up to Craig.
right.
And you know what, Aaron, I said, remember, do I need to bring any paperwork? And it's right there. Yes,
It's right there on the desk.
sorry, you guys.
Are there, do you know if there are any other changes that were made by the planning board?
Well, yeah, on
Probably.
2 of them, we had a little bit of wording that Tara's gonna clarify and change for us. But I don't have that in front of me.
The only ones that we're concerned about is the three that we discussed and voted on. And if
This-
any of those three had any substantial changes, which
Changes.
one did.
We
Yeah,
already
this-
voted on the other, did we
Yeah.
vote on them?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, the floodplain, steep
Okay.
slopes.
Oh, Steve,
and-
right.
Okay. So since we don't actually have the slightly revised document before us,
Hmm.
I don't think we should vote on it.
I
now.
don't
No.
either. I don't know if that's what Mark is going to
He's,
try to find.
Find it, yeah.
Yeah, we'll give them a couple of minutes.
I thought we
It'll
were
be
supposed,
great to have your input.
yeah.
I found it interesting and just, this is apropos of nothing, but reading through this lovely document. Any one of the sections, the one where it talked about withdrawing water, and this is what I don't know if it applies just to the golf course or if it applies to any third party withdrawing water.
Mm.
Any rights to withdraw water created and accepted and reserved shall terminate immediately if the town elects in its sole discretion to permanently remove the dam and
Yes,
drain
yes.
Corcoran Pond.
I
Yeah.
read that.
It's like,
It's
I like
great.
that. We can't be sued if we
Mm.
take that out.
We have the option to do it, yeah.
And then this
Mm.
is what would have caused the problem with,
Mhm.
and said. The required to meet. Municipal ordinances.
Mm.
Here we go.
Oh, great, thank you.
This is from last night. Amendment 1 has already been moved forward, so they did not,
Number one?
Yeah.
they did not talk about it last night.
Mhm.
That wording. That wording is all set. It should be. Let me see, 1, this is 2. And 3. Right? That I just gave you.
You gave us steep slope.
3,
I have number three.
steep
Are you-
Oh,
slope.
here's number
Yeah,
2.
what do you mean?
This,
If
this
you-
is,
Amendment 1 is the one I think we need to vote. I think we've
Oh,
already.
he said no.
well, you,
We already did.
I think we already moved that forward, didn't we? One?
I think the Conservation Commission's endorsement of it was the original one before you changed it to remove Corcoran Pond though.
okay, that's 2.
Oh,
Well, hello,
Honey.
Cindy. I'm brain dead, sorry. Join the club.
Yeah, I'll get 1,
yeah.
1, 4,
It's already
and
on.
5. Which
Oh,
have already been moved forward. And that is
Sir, this is a
The
new wording from.
one you're
last
talking
night.
about right now,
Oh, it
the
did come through.
shore, or the
Sure.
floodplain. And there was another one,
The Shorelands in the flood.
Sure, yeah, steep
No.
slope,
shoreline
Yeah, sure.
Yep, yep.
and floodplain are
Floodplain.
2 different
Right,
two
amendments.
different.
So I'll get the ones that have already been.
Can I
approved.
ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do you have a FEMA map for the floodplains for this
Yeah,
area?
yeah.
Oh, good, thanks.
It's not discernible.
You
I
can't read
know, I'm
it.
a.
Very
He
difficult.
has it, but you can't read it.
Well,
Oh, I
you
see.
can read it,
Illegible.
it's just illegible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't.
You can try.
It's actually in the
I'm not-
environmental report that was sent, that we paid to have done
Rick
by
Vanderbilt.
Rick several
Yeah.
years ago.
Mhm.
It's in bound volume.
Yeah.
He has the floodplains.
Well,
defined there.
And as you know, we were all at that meeting last night and the question was about, and John, about having and
Yeah.
having pictures of things to go with pictures of
Right.
things, because
Right.
I'm brain dead.
Yeah, but
It's
those
one
pictures
picture.
are not
Visual.
easily reproduced to.
Agreed.
everybody.
That's right.
Agreed.
And so if you want them, you need to dig them out on a website where you can blow up what portions you wish.
But you heard Charles last night, what went on, people not liking the website and that
Yes. They don't-
about
they don't
them
want
do the Facebook and all
Charles,
that.
I
stuff.
agree with Rich on that.
I do
It's on the
too.
website,
Yeah,
and you have to take responsibility if you want to seek out more
are
information.
we spoon feeding?
Yeah,
I think it's by last night's meeting,
It's a good one.
it was a good one. It was a good one.
I think
Um,
spoon feeding is important with zoning amendments because people really don't
Well,
take the
Right.
time
the
to dig
gentleman,
in and
the
understand.
gentleman I was sitting next to, who is new in the valley, he
Hmm.
bought the house above, below Cifalello's. It's a post and beam. If you know where Cifalello's is up on Cascade Ridge, it's at the very crest of Bean Bender.
Yeah.
And he bought the next house down.
Okay.
And he said, I would not have known
Oh, yeah.
about this had it not been, he's brand new to the town.
Yeah.
Had it not been for Andy posting it on Facebook.
Oh, right,
know.
right.
Okay,
Yeah.
so from that standpoint,
Yes.
I thought it was important because we do have a lot of new people.
Two people.
These amendments have got to be digested, and I said that to
Yeah.
him last night. The important factor of having these meetings is not going to town meeting and going,
Yes,
what the
What
heck
is
is this
this?
about?
Yeah.
exactly.
I said, this is our second meeting we've had with this.
Yeah.
I said, and we try to come and talk, and I thought last night was a really good meeting, in spite of things.
By the way.
All right.
Thank you.
Eric,
Yeah.
Eric pulled it up here online. So this is amendment 5, which has already been put forward,
Mhm.
wasn't discussed last night. Amendment number 5 would add a new shoreland protection overlay district that would include the land that is within 50 feet of the ordinary high water mark of all perennial streams, which in parentheses is described as year-round rivers and brooks, excluding the dammed portion of Snow's Brook known as Corcoran's Pond from Valley Road to the outlet dam. In this district, new development would be limited to uses
Cochrane.
required to be near the
Yes.
water, including but not limited to roads and utilities, and removal of vegetation would be limited to such purposes as maintenance of existing trees and shrubs and open areas. In addition, ground cover and stumps would be required to be left in place, and
Right.
pesticides and
Mhm.
herbicides would be
Yep.
limited to licensed applicators.
Mhm.
So I think that was the
Wow.
substantial change to that, and it sounds like from what we talked about earlier, that we would be all in favor of endorsing.
I think
Yes,
leaving the
yes.
stumps and whatnot is a very good practice. If they're going to clear, at least there's something holding on to the soil,
Soil.
which is important.
Mhm.
I read it, I had notes on it last night, but we didn't bring it up, but anyway. I think it's a good idea.
Mhm.
So do we want
So
to make
are there
a
any-
motion to?
Are you ready to vote on something? Which amendment?
Just
The one remaining,
Is that it? We have one remaining?
this, I don't know what the number is, the shoreland.
the number 5.
5,
Number
that you
5.
just read.
Oh.
And I think we already had voted to
Hmm.
The previous
support
version.
it, the previous version, but I think it's important that we
Yeah.
we say it again with the, given that it's been updated to remove the pond.
Mhm.
Okay.
So,
All right, so let's have a motion on the floor. Amy, would you like to try?
okay, I move that the Conservation Commission endorse proposed amendment number 5 as amended, which removes Corcoran Pond from the shoreline protection.
Make that correction from Cochran's Pond to Corcoran Pond.
Yeah, that's a very big typo in there.
Yeah.
I will
Right.
second it.
Second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Paul.
Had you gone over this already?
Yeah.
You did.
Did you have any questions? comments?
No, I just wanted to hear a brief update from Charles about it. That's all.
And now that we've passed that motion that Jenny just put forward,
Yeah.
Hmm.
apropos of that, but not attached to it. At least I voted for that amendment because it would be it's the lesser of two evils. Not having that amendment would be a problem for us. But as a commissioner, I think that we ought to address this issue further in 2025 regarding what protections we think should be applied to Corcoran Pond.
Agreed.
And I'm not about to make a motion to do that, but I would suggest as a matter of record, that we
Future
want to look into
discussion.
this further. It's not a done deal.
I agree.
Yeah.
You missed the beginning, this whole meeting is kind of moot because they changed the shoreline protection amendment, they removed Corcoran Pond from that. because there was a zoning overlay district that it would have been in conflict with, which you heard all about that, yeah, so. But Charles is just saying that he thinks. we
That's
should-
why I wanted to hear if anything else had been discussed, and I'm glad we're further pursuing it in the future. With regards for the protection and whatever else we need to do.
Yeah, I agree, Charles.
So.
And I'm sorry for being late.
No, that's good.
Don't let it happen again.
I know. My daughter's hopefully taking the cupcakes out for the meeting Friday night.
All right, so you want future discussion of amendment number 5
Shoreline.
on the agenda, just the shoreland protection? What would you like?
Future discussion of the zoning overlay district and shoreline protection of Corcoran Pond.
Oh, you probably didn't get this.
Which
Did
is
you
for-
get Tara? Yeah, you did. Oh, no, this was,
And we'll get hard copies.
Thanks.
You can probably take that. 'cause
Can I-
Charles
Does
has
Charles
a-
have one?
He has
Okay.
a copy, so.
Okay, that's
The
good.
stuff that Tara was,
Oh, yeah.
the stuff that she
Did you
wrote,
get a
is
copy
it
of that, Charles?
Yeah, I
For
did.
Tara?
Yeah.
Speed read it.
this,
Okay.
the stuff.
Yes.
Was that just today?
Yeah.
It's given to us?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna just briefly.
You can
The stuff
Yeah,
that planning
have
board
that.
stuff, though,
Okay.
Charles.
It was-
like to. In the draft site plan review regulation amendments.
Mm,
She suggested 6 months for the. For the design review,
Yeah,
because it doesn't exempt them from, it doesn't. Just because they have a design, doesn't mean they can ignore all future
future.
zoning.
right.
So is that something that planning board is?
We'll be working on
Oh.
that, yeah.
But number 3, I mean, the second sentence, I guess.
Yeah,
Implies that Conservation Commission should be paying close attention.
Mhm.
Yep,
A wetlands permit from DES will be required for the work proposed in and on the banking of Corcoran Pond. The town will have an opportunity to have a formal role in that process through its
Through
Conservation
Conservation.
Commission. So we are immediately involved in that.
Yeah,
I think in as much as we can say, no, we don't think this is good, or yes, we think this is good, and the DES is gonna do whatever they want
They want,
anyways.
yeah.
Kind of like we did up at the mountain when we went up and had the little site visit there.
Yeah.
Mm,
I mean, even if we had said, no, we don't think they should be allowed to do this, DES can say, well, we're gonna let them do it.
yeah, it's like, who are you? Okay.
Well, we are who we are, and we have an advisory role.
We do.
may I ask a question? The applicant on these lots, are these the lots on the opposite side where the boat is, or are these the 105(1) through 8? Are those over by the ice arena?
Mhm.
They are, okay, thanks.
There's an interesting part in this 2007 document about the Golden Eagle passageway that comes down.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
since Becca and I are both Golden Eaglers, we are intensely interested in such things. And I'm also interested, Mark says that what was declared as proposed lot 4 is now owned by the town. And so,
oh,
yeah,
did Cindy get the news on that?
well, I don't know how
No,
much,
no.
there were
He's
proposed
talking
lot,
about.
Oh, okay, something else.
proposed lot 2 is now the pond, proposed lot 3 is on the southeast tract. And proposed lot 4 was the little an upper piece of the beach and the
Oh, yeah.
wooded area just above
Yeah,
that, which
yeah.
includes, I think.
There's
where
a
the
little
bench is,
Yeah.
bench up
and
there.
so forth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know exactly where it is.
Yeah.
And a beautiful patch of my favorite
Yeah,
lichen.
like,
Oh, yeah.
There's a beautiful lake around there.
so I forgot where I was going with this, but.
Yeah.
Anyway, so enough said.
Yeah. That was the land that we were hoping to build a
These are all the
bathroom.
amendments.
Yeah,
A rest area.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, the walkway, yeah. Most of the steep part of the walkway
Is
where
in
people can slip and fall
Oh, yeah.
is owned by the town.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
and
what
Ray
we did has
Kucharski
nothing
makes
to
a
do with
point of
He
it,
does.
very much
But-
so.
But the town it's a problem. What
It
you
is
put
a
in-
problem.
You put in steps, people
Yeah.
trip over steps all the
Right,
time.
right.
You put in a winding switchback, which covers a lot more area.
Mhm.
Nobody will like that.
There's no sun on that
I
section.
think what we
at
need to
all.
have, my proposal is to have an elevated
Mark.
bridge that goes up over the ski path and down to the other bridge, so that there is no slope.
I thought
Thanks,
about
Mark.
that too, but I don't know how you do it.
Mark shakes his head.
We can get the Army Corps of Engineers over and see what they propose.
Anyway, okay,
Well,
All right. I think we're good unless there are any other comments, privilege of the floor, questions.
we're meeting again
Yes,
next
next
week.
The
week.
14th, right?
Next
Next
week.
week is the regular meeting,
Yeah.
so we'll go over,
And what day of the week is that?
I think,
Tuesday.
yes.
is it a
The 14th.
Tuesday? Yeah, okay.
At
Okay.
2, or
Yes.
normal 2, and
Two.
that will be normal business.
Normal business. We'll go over
We
the,
talk about the 13 acres,
yes,
which
Yeah.
was
Was it approved?
finalized
Yes.
last night.
Finalized.
That
Okay.
last
Perfect.
night it
so
sounded-
congratulations.
Congratulations.
Were there any ifs, ands, or buts? No,
If Sandra.
No. no conditions, nothing. Okay,
Okay,
well, so smooth. Great.
so can we,
We'll talk about that.
I move to adjourn. Oh,
Okay.
Did I beat you to it?
One moment,
Second,
Wait.
Wait,
one moment. So to the planning board,
Mhm.
I'm gonna report to them, yet you're in favor of amendment number 5.
Mhm.
You endorsed that,
Mhm.
and that we discussed the easement stuff.
Mhm.
Anything else? Can we run by the planning board? It's just a special meeting we had only today, but
I just would like to hear more, but maybe off record about the easement stuff for Sununu's and that whole thing.
so.
Okay,
It sounds like we have to keep our eyes on,
Dawn.
So the
I'm
planning board will
concerned.
talk a little bit about it tomorrow, but I really recommend that you take this. Like Charles did and just go over it and over and over, because it's so
much stuff.
handshake kind of deal.
Yeah,
That's what we gotta do too,
yeah. Yeah.
as a planning board, so. That's all,
okay,
thank you, go ahead.
and thank you, to planning board, for all the work you've
Yeah.
done.
yeah.
You guys
I'm
did a
so
lot.
glad
of-
I'm not on that.
It's been awful.
Well,
It's been awful.
John and I have talked. But last night,
Oh, are we still recording?
Should we?
Yeah, that's okay.
Did we adjourn or?
We did
is-
not.
Make
okay.
a motion, you made a
I move a
motion.
motion to adjourn.
I seconded, and I'm in favor. Everybody in favor?
Okay,
we're
all in
all in
favor.
Okay, we're
It's
adjourned.
still-
Can we shut off the recording?
I don't know how to do it.
I don't either.
Oh,
Does anybody know how to shut it
I
off?
can see her face, I just.
I'll stand in front of it.
No.
No, it doesn't work.
I'll make a motion to.
Oh, Paul,
it just
Paul
won't
just
allow.
had-
Oh, maybe something happened. Maybe they did stop.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
let me find out.
Although I guess-
Okay.
And what did we say that our next meeting
I'll do it when as soon
is
as I get.
next?
Thank
Okay.
you.
Now we can speak freely.
Oh, no. So illegal.